Alex, and welcome to Katie's Insight, where I give my insight on all kinds of things, whether it's news, politics, current events, entertainment, finance, business, and right now we are specifically, as you guys know, focused on stimulus, because we all need the help. All of us, me included. So I want to know what's going on. I'll just share what I'm constantly studying every day. So where are we at with stimulus? Well, President Trump, as I predicted before, he has been doing a campaign where he's coming out and he's clarifying all those tweets about ending the stimulus. In fact, he's coming out in favor of a bigger package and bigger checks. Like, we've heard it before, y'all. We're going to get into it because I do think there is hopeful stuff. I'm just at the point, you probably saw it in yesterday's video where I was getting so irritated. I'm at the point where I'm just getting really fed up because we've been hearing for weeks and months from Trump, bigger checks, better checks, checks, and it's nothing. And we all desperately need help right now. So I'm just having a morning where I'm like, I'm fed up. I'm fed up with all this. And then, guys, apparently he is canceling the next debate. Why and what is going on? Like, it's just, he's making some really stupid looking moves. And I've been talking about this because y'all think I'm a closet Trumper. You think I'm a closet Republican, and I say I don't take sides. I'm really not. I'm just telling you guys from the perspective of somebody who hates all these people, who has no dog in this race, who is directly in the middle weighing information, what this looks like to the silent majority that ends up choosing the president and pushes the elections one place or another. I'm just telling you what people like us are thinking. So we're going to go into that. But before we do, guys, I'm doing a $100 gift card giveaway. I started doing them yesterday. So here's what you have to do to be eligible to get a gift card. So simple. You need to make sure, like our video, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content, boom. That's it. You're eligible. That's all you have to do. Now, make sure and do this for yesterday's video. The link will be in the description. That is the video I will be choosing from when it comes to that gift card winner. I just got monetized, so it takes time for everything to come in. I have to see what I'm working with because if you guys remember on the other channel, I was doing $100 gift card giveaways every single day. So I'm going to try one, which is financially scary, but I'm going to try one, see how it does. If that video does well, if it's a good return on the investment, the ROI, and if I'm making enough, I'll see that I can continue maybe to do one every day or something. So make sure and do that. And then for all the other videos, so I can keep giving you guys gift cards and do giveaways, make sure, like, subscribe if you haven't, hit notifications. If you haven't and you're subscribed, make sure you hit notifications so you can be notified daily about what's coming out of the pipeline for you and your stimulus. Leave a comment, very important. As many comments as you can, the more comments, the better, and share the content with people you think this could help. Also, add me on Facebook, Katie's Insight, like the page, the group is now Katie. Right now it's Katie's Corner. It will be changed to Katie's Insight. Go in there, ask all the stimulus questions you want. We are all helping each other. Okay, so let's go ahead. Got two big pieces of info. I want to break this down. And you guys know me. I've got info pulled up. So, by the way, all this happened this morning, so it was today, like hot off the presses in the early a.m. This is Trump on Fox News with Maria Bartiromo. Oh my gosh, I'm always saying her name wrong. Bartiromo, and it's not that hard to pronounce. Something's been going on with my mouth and my brain lately if you guys have been watching me. So let's go ahead and let's get into this. So from Fox News, it says, and this is about the debate, y'all. We're going to go over this first. Trump says he won't participate in virtual debate after CPD announces changes. Not going to waste my time. Trump tells Fox Business's Maria Bartiromo, I think I got it right this time, a virtual debate would be ridiculous. Now, we have a tweet that they are showcasing. It says, from Trump, and this is on October 6th. I'm looking forward to the debate on the evening of Thursday, October 5th in Miami. It will be great! Exclamation mark. So here we go. Let's figure out what Trump is doing. President Trump, in his first interview since his positive virus test, told Fox Business's Maria Bartiromo on Thursday that he will not participate in the next debate, just minutes after the Commission on Presidential Debates announced the showdown, slated for October 15th, will be virtual. The CPD announced early Tuesday that the second presidential debate will take the form of a town meeting in which the candidates would participate from separate remote locations. Stephen Scully of C-SPAN is set to moderate the second presidential debate from Miami. But in a Fox Business interview Thursday, the president said he would not take part in a virtual debate. The commission changed the debate style, and that's not acceptable to us, Trump said on Mornings with Maria. I beat him in the first debate. I beat him easily. The president added that he expected to beat him in the second debate also. He says, I'm not going to do a virtual debate. I'm not going to waste my time at a virtual debate. Biden responded to Trump's claims while talking to reporters in Delaware on Thursday. He says, we don't know what the president is going to do. He changes his mind every second. So for me to comment on that now would be irresponsible, Biden said. I'm going to follow the commission recommendations. During his interview on Thursday, the president said he was going to sit at a computer to debate, calling it ridiculous. They're trying to protect Biden, Trump said. Everybody is. Moments later, Trump's campaign manager, BillUnemployment, said the CPD was rushing to Biden's defense by unilaterally canceling an in-person debate, calling it pathetic. That's not what the debates are or how they should be done, Stepien said. Here are the facts. President Trump will have posted multiple negative tests prior to the debate, so there is no need for this unilateral declaration. The safety of all involved can easily be achieved without canceling a chance for voters to see both candidates go head-to-head. He added, we'll pass on this sad excuse to bail out Joe Biden and do a rally instead. But the Biden campaign seemingly accepted the rules change early Thursday. Vice President Biden looks forward to speaking directly to the American people and comparing his plan for bringing the country together and building back better with Donald Trump's failed leadership on the virus that has thrown the strong economy he inherited into the worst downturn since the Great Depression, Biden's deputy campaign manager, Kate Bedingfield, said in a statement. The debate format change comes less than a week after the president announced he and First Lady Melania Trump tested positive for the virus. That announcement threw the status of the future 2020 debates in doubt, though the debate between Vice President Mike Pence and California Senator Kamala Harris went on as planned. Wednesday night, with on-stage dividers between the candidates after both had tested negative for the virus. Trump was discharged from Walter Reed National Military Medical Center on Monday after his medical team said he couldn't continue the virus treatment from the White House. He has his re-election campaign at the forefront of his mind, tweeting shortly before departing that he would soon be back on the campaign trail, while blasting polls that showed him trailing Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. We'll be back on the campaign trail soon. The fake news media only shows fake news polls, Trump tweeted before being discharged from Walter Reed. Meanwhile, shortly after the president returned to the White House, he continued to be treated for the virus. His campaign communications director, Tim Murtaugh, said the president planned to take part in the debates. The president intends to debate, Murtaugh told Fox News Monday. Simone Sanders, a senior campaign advisor to Biden, said on Sunday that the former vice president was looking forward to the October 15th town hall-style debate in Miami, and that he hoped Trump would be well enough to attend. We are looking forward to the debate on October 15th, Miami, Sanders said during an interview with CNN's State of the Union on Sunday. It's a town hall, and as you know, Vice President Biden loves a good town hall. Sanders added, and we are hoping the President Trump can participate. We're hoping that he's medically able to participate, and that is up to his doctors to clear him. But Joe Biden will be at that debate. Since Trump's announcement of his positive virus test, numerous members of his White House inner circle and his re-election campaign have come down with the contagion. Trump's campaign manager, Bill Stepien, also tested positive for the virus and is working remotely. The House Press Secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, announced Monday that she had tested positive for the virus, in addition to other White House staff who have tested positive, including Senior Advisor Hope Hicks, Stephen Miller, and Director of the Oval Office Operations, Nick Luna. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, White House physician Dr. Sean Conley said the president had been fever-free for 4 days and has not had any symptoms of the novel virus for over 24 hours. The president this morning says, I feel great. Conley wrote in a memo to McEnany. His physical exam and vital signs, including oxygen saturation and respiratory rate, all remain stable and in normal range. Conley added that the president has now been fever-free for more than 4 days, symptom-free for 24 hours, and has not needed nor received any supplemental oxygen since initial hospitalization. Of note today, the president's labs demonstrated detectable levels of the virus antibodies from labs drawn Monday, October 5th. Initial IgG levels drawn late Thursday night were undetectable. Conley continued, adding that the president's medical team will continue to closely monitor and will provide updates as necessary. So now, guys, you guys know me. I have a little bit of info because he actually talks about this pulled up, and then we're going to talk about this because there's a fun surprise twist in this. Let's take a look.
I beat him in the first debate. At the second debate, we have a never-Trumper as a host, but That's okay, because I beat him in the second debate also. And but I'm not going to do a virtual debate.
So Mr. President, you're not going to do it because the CPD, the Commission on Presidential Debates, announcing this morning that the second presidential debate will be virtual. Are you saying you're not going to participate?
No, I'm not going to waste my time on a virtual debate. That's not what debating's all about. You sit behind a computer and do a debate. It's ridiculous. And then they cut you off whenever they want. I have a host who I always thought was a nice guy, but I see he's a never-Trumper. Came out that he's a never-Trumper. We do have some of them, Maria, believe it or not, because they don't like to win. But I'm not doing a virtual debate. They didn't even tell us about the debate, Maria.
So you just learned this morning?
Yeah, we learned it the same way you learned it. They called up 2 minutes ago, and it was announced. And they're trying to protect Biden. Everybody is. They're trying, like that NBC disaster where he went on the show with Lester Holt. It was meant for a child. It wasn't meant for a grown person. He gets up and he says, "We're not fracking. We're not fracking." He was fracking for 6 months. He was fracking. He was raising his very thin hand, and he was fracking. And now all of a sudden he's not fracking. Well, tell the Pennsylvania people that you're going. It's ridiculous. He said he's not fracking. That's all he said. And then all of a sudden he goes to a fracking mode. And how about her? She committed her life to it. And all of a sudden she's a fracker. She's a big fracker. They're going to stop fracking the minute they get into office. They're lying to everybody. They're lying about so many different things. But you have to confront people. You can't do it.
I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about what you heard last night. But Mr. President, you say you're not going to do this debate. Address the criticism, Mr. President, the criticism that you removed your mask for a photo op. You got to the top of the steps. You removed it. People are worried about your recent diagnosis. Now you've got 30 plus people with coronavirus in and around the White House. Address that concern for us, Mr. President, as you tell the Commission on Debates you're not going to do this virtually.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think I'm better when to a point where I'd love to do a rally tonight. I wanted to do one last night, but I think I'm better to a point that I feel better than I did. I jokingly said 20 years ago. I feel perfect. There's nothing wrong. I had a case. I got it knocked out. I think it was Regeneron that was responsible for it. Because of that, it was sort of like almost a gift from heaven because of what I went through, and I felt pretty lousy. A lot of people did, and a lot of people do. No matter how good the security, you're not going to protect yourself from this thing with just your standard anything, unless you just literally don't come out. And even those people found out. Did you see in New York City, the most heavily locked down place, the people that caught it the most were the people that were caught in their houses and their apartments, okay?
Okay, so let's go ahead and go into this clip because he starts talking mid-sentence. I couldn't get the whole interview. You guys like to know I get the whole interview, or most of it, because I want to give you guys the full context, but this is all he could do this early. So this is what he said. I beat Biden in the first debate. On the second debate, the host is a never-Trumper. But that's okay. I'll beat him in the second debate as well. I want to do a virtual debate. So Maria says, you won't do it because the CPD, the Commission on Presidential Debates, it will be virtual. You saying that you won't participate. He says, I won't waste my time in a virtual debate. You sit behind a computer and you do a debate, and they cut you off whenever they want. I had a host that I thought was a nice guy, but it came out he's a never-Trumper. We have some of them because they don't like to win. Okay, guys, love him or hate him, the ego in this man is fantastic. Well, people don't like me because they don't like to win. It couldn't be that sometimes they don't like your policies or what you say. It's that they just don't want to win at life. It's a brilliant move, but he's such a, my goodness, he comes across like such a bully sometimes. Don't like to win. I won't do that. They didn't even tell us that, Maria. By the way, I don't even think that when he says that they don't want to win, they don't like to win, I don't even necessarily think that's, I think if you were to take him in a certain context, I can actually agree with him. I think these negative politicians don't want the American people to win. But are we talking about the American people, or is he speaking on behalf of himself? This is where you have to kind of try to decipher what he says, and sometimes you can't, right? So then he said, and Maria says, so you just learned about the debate this morning. He says, I learned it how you learned it. They called 2 minutes ago and it was announced. They are trying to protect Biden. Everybody is. He says, like that NBC disaster with Esther Holt, it was meant for a child, not a grown person. He gets up and says, we aren't fracking. He was fracking for 6 months and raising his very thin hand. By the way, why is he talking about this? It's just another day. He's raised his very thin hand. Like, the size of your hands actually matters in life. I mean, I guess there is a running joke that it does for some people. I don't know. I'm sure it doesn't matter to me either way. Don't infer anything from that. It was inappropriate. Anyway, he says, and he raises his very thin hands. So stupid. And now all of a sudden he's not fracking. Tell that to the Pennsylvania people that you aren't fracking. Ridiculous. He says he's not fracking. That's all he said. All of a sudden he goes into fracking mode. How about her? Don't know who her is, but he says she committed her life to it and now she's a fracker? She's a big fracker. Frack you. Frack you. Quit your quivering. Nobody wants to hear your quivering. They are going to stop fracking the minute they get into office. They are lying to everyone about so many things. Then she says, I want to talk about what you heard last night. I want to talk about not doing the debate and address the critics. You removed your mask for a photo op. You got to the steps, you removed it. People are worried about your recent diagnosis. You got 30 plus people in and around the White House with the virus. Address that concern as you tell the commission on debates that you want to do a debate virtually. He says, I think I'm better to where I want to do a rally tonight and wanted to do it last night. I think I'm better to a point where I feel better than I did 20 years ago. I feel perfect. There's nothing wrong. I had a case, I knocked it out. I think it was Regeneron that knocked it out, which we'll go into in a minute, guys. I think it was almost a gift from heaven. We'll go into that too. He says, because of what I went through, I feel pretty lousy, and a lot of people do. No matter how good the security is, you won't protect yourself from these things with just your standard anything, with your standard anything, unless what you use doesn't come out. Even those people found out. Even New York City, the place that's most heavily locked down, people are staying in their apartments and they are getting the illness. So that's just him talking about the illness. Now, let me point out a few things, and I've said this in the recent videos. In my opinion, right now, Trump is making very stupid decisions in terms of how he looks to the optics of the American people. Understand what I'm saying? I think Trump is widely taken out of context, and I think a lot of it is a big portion of him being taken out of context is just the media trying every which way to paint him as this evil person. And when we know the media is that most of the media, the big media, is that evil, it makes you question. But let's be very real. Trump is also doing some really stupid-looking maneuvers and moves in regard to how the American people see him. So, for instance, him getting the virus is a bad look. I mean, he can't help it, but when he's for months been saying it's not that big a deal, it may not even be a thing, and then he gets it, doesn't make him look good. Then he does that joyride to wave to everybody. That looks bad. Then he goes and he waves at everybody and takes his mask off. That looks bad. And then to post those tweets, this one, I was like, please don't make this a nail in the coffin. Please, somebody rein him in. He goes and he puts up those tweets that made everybody freak out this week that I've been telling you, and I was right about, that said we're ending stimulus talks. And everybody was like, the stimulus is ended. I said, no, it's not. This is bad musical theater, guys. Sit tight. Wait. This is just what they do. This is negotiation. And turns out I was right. I said over the next couple days, he's going to clarify and his people are going to start clarifying for him. And that's exactly what's happened. And it was a negotiation tactic, like I had called in my previous videos. So, he clarified that. But here's the thing. Number one, he's saying he won't do a virtual debate. I get why he doesn't want to. Here's the thing you got to keep in mind. It just said that his doctors have tested him, and now he's tested negative for the virus showing up. And I believe, I'm not a doctor, but I believe that also has to do with the virus shedding and being able to transmit it. Well, if we look, the date is October 8th. That means a week from now it's October 15th. And technically, he probably, if he's not showing signs of the virus right now in terms of shedding it, then in that window, he will most likely be okay to debate. Now, I agree with him that debates would be horrible if they were, everybody had to call in on a Zoom meeting. That would be horrible. Debates need to be in person. That being said, I can understand Biden and his campaign's concern about wanting to do that in person, not just because of Trump himself, but he's been around people and as everybody's going down around him with this virus. So it's not just about Trump himself, right? That I can understand. There's a lot of these points I can understand, right? But at the same time, when it comes to Trump himself, looks like, fingers crossed, we're praying he will be out of the clear. If he can get through this week, and especially Monday. By Monday, if he is not, and by the way, he's reported to not have any symptoms right now, no fever. So if he can get to that point, fantastic. Now, but that also is going to depend, in my opinion, on whether or not he's on the steroids. The steroids are going to make you feel better, period. So I hope that he has a taper off mechanism for those, like I've had to have, but it's different. A lot of people could just do a blast of steroids for some health issue and then go off of them. I can't. My body's very sensitive to medication. I have to taper off of almost anything I do, except for like, over-the-counter pain relievers, and even those I have to be careful with. So I kind of wanted to point some of this out because I think it's interesting, because I do agree with Trump that doing a virtual meeting kind of seems like a waste of time. The problem is, for a lot of the country, for Trump to say he's not going to, even if we can sit and argue the points that he will be virus-free at that point, it makes him look bad. But I understand why. I can understand the want to do it, because the last one was so horrible with everybody insulting and talking over each other. It was the one good takeaway I saw from this is I feel like part of my job has been done. In the message I've been trying to tell you guys, that all of them are pieces of crap. All of them in the government. Your party is a piece of crap. The party you hate is a piece of crap. They're all pieces of crap, okay? Trump should not be president. But to most of the American people and people in the middle like me, we look at it and we're like, well, who's least likely to hurt women and children? Please infer what I'm saying. And we look and we're like, I guess we're going to try Trump, because we all know the others are doing awful shady things behind the scenes that hurt those people. Does that make sense? Please infer. I do not want to get in trouble with YouTube. I have to speak very lightly about this subject. And, I don't have direct evidence myself of these things, but I have seen enough evidence over the years. This is stuff I've known about since I was a teenager. People thought I was crazy in the Midwest in the Bush era, where everybody's pro-Republican. And, now back then it was, you have to be patriotic. If you're not patriotic, then you're horrible. Now they use the R word. So everybody is an R word if you don't adhere to certain thoughts and certain things. Not that we don't have issues with the R word, because we obviously do, but I feel like the left right now is using that as a narrative to push to whip up hate amongst people and whip up more division than coming together and saying, how can we help minorities and how do we help get them into a better place? Because we should all be trying to help one another in this country, and I'm for fixing those issues, but I am not for the left using narratives that are going to make things worse. Here's the kicker though. Where am I getting with this? Because you're like, okay, well this sucks, but why are you saying Trump looks so bad? So in the interview, if you heard this, Trump, I'm sorry I'm laughing, I'm so irritated. Trump in the interview says, I would rather do a rally. I wanted to do one last night. I want to do one today. And it's like, dude, you are still on meds for the virus. Most likely. He's still on some kind of meds. No, that's a bad idea, right? The fact that he says, I want to, knowing the state he's in, even if he's being tested and it says, okay, you're not shedding, you are not infecting people anymore, the fact that this soon he's saying he wants to do it and he's trying to make that happen looks bad. But let's take it a step further. It just came out. Not only is Trump saying, okay, not going to do the virtual debate. You know what he's going to do instead? He's going to do a rally. Trump's going to do a rally the same night of the debate after he's had the virus and been hospitalized for the virus. I can't make this up. I'm not making this up. I want to pull my hair out, and I'll tell you why. As I said about the debate, most likely by that time he will not be infecting other people. But he's going to have all of his people there that could have the virus and not know it and be infecting other people. And here's my point. My point is to him, this makes you look bad. It is not about even what is the actual reality. It's about how the American public is going to perceive this. And since he got that virus, he's just doing one boneheaded move after another when it comes to his own PR. And it makes me concerned. It makes me concerned because I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll have to see what happens. I told you I don't take a side, but I've told you where I might lean one way or more when I have to look at who's possibly hurting women or children more. And so, and I don't trust any of those other people in the government. I don't trust Trump either. But unfortunately, I think me and a lot of the Americans look at him and go, I think he's probably least likely. Isn't that horrible? But that's how people pick a president at this point, but this is where we're at. Because we as a society are uncovering so many injustices. We're uncovering social injustices, injustices for minorities in this country, injustices for women, and for some reason, nobody, including the left, the kind, tolerant, loving left, and by the way, when I say the left, I don't mean you smart people watching who might lean left. Hi, y'all, hi. More power to you. You are not who I'm referring to. I'm talking about the people at the top. They just social justice for everything, but apparently all of Hollywood is silent about making things safe for children. And I can't even say too much because it's YouTube. I have to be very careful what I say about this, but this is something that has really, really bothered me for quite some time. I wonder why they're all so silent about kids. Makes me sick, makes me absolutely sick. And then some of it, I actually feel bad for some of the people in Hollywood, because if they aren't participating in possibilities of certain things, then they might have actually gotten into a situation where now they're trapped. There's only a few celebrities, like Ashton Kutcher comes to mind, who actually spoke out about this type of behavior, and good on him. Like, it's, the whole thing just makes me upset. So I'll tell you, sorry, I'm gonna try to wrap this up, but because I also want to do talk stimulus checks, but I'm getting very irritated because it's like, Trump, you're doing a lot of stupid looking moves. Like, calm down. Calm down. What is it my assistant and my boyfriend always say? They always tell me, they're like, woo-saw, Katie, woo-saw. If she watches this, and I hope she doesn't, girl, go spend your time doing something productive. Don't watch my crap, my Chuck voice. You want my chump monk voice? In her ear, but yeah, she's always saying woo-saw. I'm like, my boyfriend says that. He's the only one that says that. Why do you both say it? That's awesome. But anyway, that's what I'm looking at. But we're going to go ahead and move on. I'm just letting you guys know how this looks, because I'm covering not just stimulus, but the election. And this election is going to get nuts. Oh my gosh. Y'all, there's so many videos. I want to really cover the debates, and I just don't have time. I don't have time. I would love to sit. In fact, one of my supporters, hi supporter, hi, you know who you are. He had suggested, he's like, you should do, what is that called? You should do reaction to them. And I would love to, but these things are like an hour long, and then like flies apparently are flying on people's heads and like I just think, I don't think between all the other videos I'm going to actually have the time or the health to sit there for an hour and a half. And do y'all really want to watch me for an hour and a half, like, react to these morons? And then the other thing is, some of the stuff I'm not, like, I know some of the issues, but then some of the issues I don't. So it's like, who am I to say, right? Some of this I'm not, you know, super well versed on. Some I am. So, but let's go ahead, and I want to go ahead and bring up the most important meat and bones of all this, right, is going to be stimulus checks. Let's bring up that info. I have a short article from Fox Business. This was during the same interview. It says, Trump says stimulus talks are very productive. Airlines and $1,200 checks are on the table, which is good. Trump claimed talks were back on about the virus stimulus checks. Let's get into this. President Trump said he shut down virus stimulus talks with House Democrats on Tuesday because he didn't want to play games, but added Thursday that relief for Americans could be back on the table. They were trying to get things. It wasn't going anywhere. Trump told Mornings with Maria host Maria Bartiromo, I shut it down. I don't want to play games. We are starting to have very productive talks, he said. The House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wants it to happen too. She doesn't want it not to happen. I believe she wants it to happen because it's good for our country. Trump claimed talks about an airline bailout plus $1,200 per person stimulus checks were back on. It wasn't workers' fault. It wasn't our airlines' fault. China did this terrible thing to us. I will not be forgetting about that, Trump said. We should not hurt workers. This was a horrible scourge. Now, I want to go ahead and bring up exactly what he said, because y'all know me. I like to give context, because the media, as you know, likes to take everything out of context as much as they can to lie. Let's take a listen.
And you are back in it, sort of knee deep in work again. I want to ask you about the stimulus
I was
plan,
yesterday,
Mr.
and the day before that, I worked from the hospital. I worked a full schedule. I missed very little time.
Well, you're calling for aid now. You want aid for the airlines, for small business, $1,200 checks. But you just said that you were shutting down talks with Nancy Pelosi. How do you want to see aid play out? And what do you want as far as a priority on stimulus?
Well, I shut down talks 2 days ago because they weren't working out. Now they are starting to work out. We're starting to have some very productive talks. And she wants to happen, too. She doesn't want it not to happen. I believe she wants it to happen because it's so good for our country. We really need it. It wasn't our workers' fault. It wasn't our airlines' fault that China did this terrible thing to us, and I will not be forgetting about that. China did this. This was all done by China. And we shouldn't be hurting our workers because China put the curse on, because this was a horrible scourge, a horrible thing that they did. And so I said, look, we're not getting anywhere. Shut it down. And I didn't want to waste time. But in any event, after that, we got back. Both sides very capable. We got back. We started talking again, and we're talking about airlines, and we're talking about a bigger deal than airlines. We're talking about a deal with $1,200 per person. We're talking about other things. But it's not anybody's fault. They were trying to get things, and we were trying to get things, and it wasn't going anywhere. I shut it down. I don't want to play games. And then we reopened, and I see the markets are doing well, but I think we have a really good chance of doing something. And Nancy Pelosi, look, she's not my favorite person. She impeached me for no reason. So when you get impeached for no reason, you have a little bit of a telltale lag. But, she impeached me over a phone call that was absolutely perfect, okay? And everybody knew it, and they never had a chance. And but I still had to go through a process, which is ridiculous. So it's not like
the impeachment trial.
I think she's the greatest person in the world.
The impeachment trial was not based on any actual crime.
Notes. Let's go. It says, Trump, you are back at it. This is from the interviewer, Maria. You are back at it, knee deep in hard work with the stimulus plan. He says, yeah, I was working the day before that. I worked from the hospital. I worked a full schedule. I missed very little time. She says, well, are you calling for aid now? Aid for airlines, small businesses, $1,200 checks, but you just said you were shutting down talks with Pelosi. How do you want to see this play out? And what's your priority as far as stimulus goes? He says, I shut down talks 2 days ago because they weren't working out. Now they are working out and we're having very productive talks. So it looks like it's just doing a full circle turnaround, y'all. And she wants it to happen, Pelosi, and Pelosi wants it to happen. She wants it. He says, this is good for our country. Our country needs it. It wasn't our fault. It was the airline's fault that a certain country did this to us. This was a certain country's fault. I won't forget that. This is a country. The country hurt our workers. The country put the curse on. This was a horrible scourge and a horrible thing they did. I said, look, we aren't getting anywhere. Shut it down. I don't want to waste time. In any event, we got back, both sides very capable, and we are talking again. Airlines, we are talking about a bigger deal now, $1,200 per person and other things. It's not anybody's fault. We are trying to get things on each side. Each side is trying to get different things, but it wasn't going anywhere, and I don't want to play games. We reopened, and I see the markets are doing well. I think we have a good chance of doing things. Nancy Pelosi, too. She's not my favorite person. He loved going into detail about that. He goes, she impeached me for no reason, which that's true. Which, by the way, guys, there are papers being released right now about all of that. It's getting crazy because I'm so busy with stimulus. I don't have time to really dive into it, but I've seen some stuff here and there as I've been doing these videos, and I'm like, this is nuts. That $45 million that Mueller, that he wasted on this investigation, it's really upsetting and disheartening because this could have gone to us to help us with stimulus right now. And so he says, Nancy Pelosi, she's not my favorite person. She impeached me for no reason. When you get impeached for no reason, you get some telltale lag. She impeached me over a phone call that was absolutely perfect, okay? And everyone knew it. And they never had a chance. But I started to go through a process which is ridiculous, the impeachment process. I don't think she's the greatest person in the world. And so then that's when she spoke up and she said impeachment trial wasn't based on any actual crime. So that is what is being said about stimulus, which is very, very interesting. Let's point out a couple things. So this is the part we should all be focused on. He says, I don't want to waste time in any event. We go back. Both sides very capable. We are talking again, airlines. We are talking about a bigger deal now. And then immediately after bigger deal, $1,200 per person and other things. So he's saying that they want a bigger stimulus package, more than just the airlines. And right after that, makes the $1,200 per person. Now remember, we've had several instances of Trump over the weeks and months saying we want stimulus checks, we want bigger checks, we want more help for the American people. We've also had Trump saying, the Democrats want a bunch of wasteful spending to bail themselves out. If we're going to spend that much money, we want to be helping the American people. And as of right now, Trump is the only one who's given, like I've said, the appearance of wanting to help the American people while both sides just seem like they don't care. Very, very interesting. So does this mean a bigger package is coming? Because now, like they're saying, like we're hearing, it sounds like the talks are starting to turn around, which is fantastic because as we heard earlier this week, everything's shut down. And now everybody is saying the talks are going well. In fact, and I have a video coming out about this, the Problem Solvers Caucus has come out and said that they are this close to a deal, and everybody just has to come to the table, come together, and keep, interacting, keep speaking, keep trying with one another, because they are very, very close to a deal. And I am hoping something happens. A couple things to keep in mind, guys. When you see certain things in the media about stimulus, go to your trusted sources on what is going on. Hopefully, if I am lucky enough, I would be one of those channels for you where you can have people break it down. Don't take anything you see literally. Take it all with a grain of salt. I've been saying this for weeks and months, and please remember, when it comes to these people, when it comes to all these politicians and all this BS that you're going to see, right? All of these people, they have one thing in common. They use the media for negotiations. So they will go do these interviews on Fox News or CNBC or MSNBC or wherever they go, right? And they use these platforms to negotiate. They use these platforms as negotiation pieces to get out what they want to say and try to sway people on their side with it. So you can't trust everything. And that's what I was saying about Trump. I'm like, Trump's hard because you can't always take him literally, but sometimes he says crazy off-the-wall literal things and then immediately does them, like the executive orders. But a lot of times with these people, including Trump, you have to read between the lines. And what I read from Trump the other day on Twitter was, I'm like, this is negotiation tactic. He is trying to force them to actually come to the table because, as we know, the Democrats have been famously not wanting to relent on anything. They're really not negotiating in this situation. They aren't coming together. It's everybody else on the Republican side or the White House side relenting to everything they want, and they won't. In fact, they haven't even really shaved their bill down except for the timing of the things that they want. That's really it. So, we'll have to see what happens, but I think this is good news. This is good news in several different senses, but the big thing is, maybe what Trump did, even though it looks really bad for him, actually helped, and it's gotten talks to restart and be positive. Now, we also had heard from a representative earlier this week that said that he had been told in the Congress had been told, be prepared to come back at the end of this week to do a vote because they are very, very close. Now, the other part of this, though, is that as much as it would be good, it would look good for Trump to be able to help something get passed before this election. On the flip side, there is a part, will he actually do any executive orders? Because at this point, if they don't do something, he's going to have to step up and do it. But with him saying, let's focus all of our energy on the justice, is he going to do that? Because here's what you have to remember. At the end of the day, Trump, like all these other people, is going to look out for his bottom line. And it's probably too soon before the election at this point to be able to actually get those checks in people's hands. However, it would still be the win of the century for him to pass an executive order to make it happen. At least have that order in place and have everything ready to go before the elections take place. I still think there's a shot of that. But we'll have to wait and see, because maybe they will come together and make a deal. I am so, I don't trust at this point that they will, because it's gone on so long. And with Trump having to do those executive orders the first time, my perspective is I think he's trying to push them together, but I think he's going to have to do executive orders. He's going to have to. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But again, this would be it would be such a loss for him, an L, and he's taken several L's lately with this virus situation. It would be such a missed opportunity for his campaign to not try to do an executive order at this time, right before this crucial election, especially if there might not be any other debates, guys. The debates may be over, at least for them, because he says I'm not going to do virtual. And I think at this point, because he had the virus, Biden's team, because we know Biden can't really be trusted on a microphone, even though Biden did fantastic at the last debate, we all thought he was going to show up in like a coffin. And that's, by the way, no disrespect. What I mean by that is we thought his cognitive abilities would be really impaired, but he was on it. I think he was on the dexamethasone or dexamethasone that President Trump was on. Like, they were both roided up, right? Well, Trump wasn't roided up. Maybe Biden was. I don't know. By the way, I'm just joking. I'm just saying we have seen him in a big mental decline, and that's not me trying to be insulting. That's just being honest, right? We may not actually have any more debates, period. They may be done. So in that case, he's going to have to pull out some magic from his you-know-where and spin it to really make something happen, to really give him good optics in front of the American people, because right now, before the election, he needs it. Is it just me, and I have no evidence for this, and I'm not saying this is the case, but is anybody else looking at the situation with him and the White House and everybody around him all getting the virus at the same time, like 3 weeks before the election? Does this look weird to anybody else? I'm not saying it is. I have no evidence for what I'm saying. It does look weird, doesn't it? And unfortunately, our government, many times with many people, have done real interesting things when it comes to playing with people's health. like the different things they've done in minority communities, the Tuskegee Airmen, like, you know, the things they've done in South American communities, like just several documented things of our government going in and promising one thing, doing another, and it's not unlike our government to do some weird stuff. I can't say that's the case. I don't know that that's the case. All I'm saying is stuff don't smell right. When stuff don't smell right and stuff looks weird, my little spidey senses, you know, my me wanting aliens to land on this planet and come sniff my orange candle starts to spark. My ancient aliens meter starts going, and I'm like, what's really happening? Now, of course, this virus can strike at different times. Viruses are very weird like that. They kind of have a life of their own. I'm just saying it looks weird. I'm just saying it looks weird considering Trump just kept having win after win in front of the eyes of the American people. And right before the election, this gives him a bunch of L's. So we'll have to stay tuned for that. And also I have more information coming out. So make sure and stay tuned this week, today. What is wrong with me? Make sure and stay tuned today for the other videos. Okay, guys, if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up to help me out. Like the video, subscribe, hit notifications so you can be notified daily what is coming to the pipeline for you and your stimulus money. Also, leave a comment. Tell me everything you think. I want to hear it. Leave multiple comments if you can. The more comments, the better. And please, guys, share this content with as many people as possible. People who are on unemployment, waiting for unemployment, waiting for stimulus checks, SB loan and grant issues, bill issues, financially strapped. I've got tons of tools and tons of resources on this channel to help you guys through this very difficult time. And guys, the more you like, subscribe, comment, notifications, share the content, the more the channel grows, the more I can give back to you guys, like I brought back the $100 gift card. So it's so simple. To be able to get our $100 gift card, this is all you have to do. Like our video, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content, boom. That's it. You're eligible. That's all you have to do. Make sure and do it for every video you see, but this one is specifically for one of yesterday's videos. I will have a link in the description. You have to watch it from start to finish, do all of those steps, and you will be entered to be able to win a gift card. So, and if you guys can help me as much as you can, and you guys have been so awesome with the likes and the comments and the everything, the engagement has been incredible. Thank you so much. If you can just continue to help me keep it up, and I can figure out what's going on with AdSense and what I will bring in, and then I can determine if I can afford to continue to do these giveaways going forward. I hope I can, because I love helping you guys. I love these giveaways, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Okay, guys, I'm going to end this video here now. Thank you so much for coming to hear my insight on stuff, and until the next time, take care. I'm sending you lots of blessings, and I'm just so grateful to have you guys. Okay, mwah. Big kisses. Bye, guys.